Now we go to our third lecture by Bert, and he's going to tell us about metadata and what can we do, what we can do with the metadata. Bert.
So as Slava explained earlier, by the term metadata, we mean all non-linguistic information associated with documents in a corpus. So the aim of my lecture is threefold. Firstly, I will survey the various documents attributes that have been recorded for the Simtho corpus. Then I will show how you can use metadata to learn what the corpus currently consists of. And then finally, and most importantly, I will show how you can use metadata elements in corpus searches to get more refined results. So first of all, where can we find the metadata in Simtho? You may have noticed that after selecting a corpus, in this case, the beta 2 corpus, there is a large button that says corpus info. If you click on that, you'll get this screen. So you see first some basic information. The language is, of course, Syriac. There are some counts. So we currently have 601 documents for a total of just over 16 million tokens, including 13 million words. So as Slava explained, words are tokens, but punctuation is a token too, which explains the discrepancy. These make up just over 700,000 unique word forms. But so if you want to, the metadata that we're interested in, you'll find under text type, which is the word that Sketch Engine uses for metadata. So here you see a list of, and it's alphabetic list of various document attributes that we have recorded. Before we take a closer look at this, I want to give you a brief glimpse of what's under the hood. So this is a screenshot of the master metadata database, which has been created long before I came on the project, which is a work in progress. And so there are various issues, of course, in terms of standardization for names and so forth. But so I will not talk about this. I will refer to the recording of the Simtho Beta 2 launch, which has already been mentioned, that you can find on the IAS YouTube channel. So here I want to focus on the front-end user interface as we have it before us. So as I said, you have an alphabetical list, but if we take a closer look at it, you see that there are basically two levels of metadata. We have attributes dealing with the original source, in our case, mostly printed Syriac text editions, and we'll have attributes dealing with the digital file that has mostly been created through OCR. So the level of the original source, we can further distinguish between two levels. We have the attributes that deal with the Syriac texts. So these are the elements that will be most important to our searches. So we have like author, working title, and related to this, the document ID. So the document ID is a unique identifier for each work. It consists of a standardized author abbreviation and a standardized work abbreviation. So for instance, Severus of Antioch's Cathedral Homilies, it looks like this. So as you have noticed earlier in Simtho, in concordance searches, this is the default view that you have before the lines. So I understand that these have went through a process of peer review, and Sebastian Brock has played a major role in this. So yeah, maybe I should say that Sebastian reviewed. And so we are hoping to create a future standard with these document IDs that can also be used for other Syriac digital humanities projects. Two other important elements are the period and epoch. So we have period means the century or range of centuries, but to enhance this and also to make these texts sortable, the Epoch system has been created, which is a 4-digit number. And so if we had a rough idea or exact date of a composition, we'd use that. But in most cases, we went through approximation. So for the early, mid, late century, we use quarters. For instance, the late 10th century would be 0975, mid 10th century would be 0950, and early would be 0925. So if the range was 1 or 2 centuries, we went for the middle. So in this example, if it's a text composed in the 6th or 7th century, we went for 0600. If it was 2 or more centuries, then we went for the final quarter. So as you see in the example, between the 6th and 8th century is 0775. Other attributes that will be relevant to your searches are genre type and Syriac genre. So under genre, it means if it's prose or poetry, basically. But then this is further specified under genre type. And this more or less corresponds to what we have for Syriac genre, but there it uses the Syriac terminology. So for instance, you have under genre type, you have disputation, and then this corresponds to Syriac genre. So as you see, there are slightly more items for genre type. We have 66 elements, and for Syriac genre 72. So it may be more refined using Syriac genre, but this depends on what you're looking for. Then we have also, what else we have? So meter, this is the poetic meter, if applicable. And then translation, there you can find if it's an original composition in Syriac, then there's no translation, or if it's from Greek or Arabic or Persian. And then with translator, we mean so the Syriac translator, not the modern translator, who is often also the editor. Okay, then we come to the material object. So here we have the editor. You see we have 156 editors. Under medium, we have, is it from a printed book or a journal article? Is it a multi-volume book? Yes or no? Then you also have the word count. So in the registration form, some people are interested in this kind of information. So we also have this. And then if it's copyright, yes or no, permission to use, and of course, the bibliographical reference. And then we come to the digital file. So this information is, well, it's interesting if you want to know how the corpus was built, but I'm guessing you won't use this in your searches for your research. So here we find all of this has to do with the digital file that was created mostly through OCR and uploaded to Simtho. Okay, so note also here that transcriber and proofer refers to the digital file, so not the printed Syriac text. So the only exception is when the editor gave his digital files to us, then he is also the transcriber and the proofer. Okay, so now we come to the second part, which is, okay, what can I do with all this? How can I use Simtho for my research? So in order to determine what Simtho can do for you, an important question is, of course, what's in it? So meaning what texts are in it. And you can also find this information by going through Corpus info, and then you can dig deeper into it. For instance, if you click on authors, it will give you statistics for the entire corpus. So these are ordered according to frequency, but you can also sort them alphabetically. There are no other ways of sorting this. But for instance, say you are working on Antony of Takrit, you can go to the concordance. And if you then go to frequency and text types, the metadata, then it will give you all the metadata that we have for this particular author. So apparently we only have the 5th book of the rhetoric. And you see here genre, and you see the editor is John Watt. Okay, so you can also, in the same way, say that you're working on Syriac translations from Greek, then you can go to translation. Okay, we have from Greek, we also have partly from Greek. So over 3 million tokens are text translated from Greek. In the same way, we can go to the concordance, look for the frequency, and then we go to text types, and then we get all the metadata. So 81 works are translated from Greek in the corpus. Okay, so this is all very interesting to know what Simtho can do for you, but now let's go to the real work. And so how can we use this to am I in Syriac? Okay. So for instance, we search for Tayoye. Okay, we have 745 results. Since that will be filtering on metadata, it may be interesting to bring out some elements. You can do this through view options, and then you can select more line details, or the quicker way is what Hannah already showed, info, and then you get the same page. Okay, let's say we want to have the denomination. We also want the epoch, and say also, okay, genre type. So once you have, let's say, three elements, it might be interesting to display these above the lines. Also, if you're new to Simtho, you can also display the full author name if the document IDs are new to you. Okay, so you see that these results are kind of random. There's just as they are in the corpus, you get the results, but we can sort. The disadvantage of displaying above the lines is you cannot do this quick sorting that Hannah showed. You have to sort through here. And then, so we want to sort them chronologically. Then we have to go through to epoch. So not period, but epoch. And then, okay. So as you see, the first items that we have are those with a hyphen. So this means that either we weren't sure about the date, or or the metadata is simply incomplete. The first element, so all biblical books are written like this. We probably will change this, but so we have here, Acts of Saint Anthony is apparently one of the earliest dated ones. Okay, so say I only want, I'm interested in the usage of this term in the pre-Islamic period, and I only want texts which are more or less securely dated. So then it can be interesting to filter on metadata. So the way to do this is not go to filter. This only works to filter text. You have to go back to change your search criteria. And then in both the basic and advanced search, you'll find below text types. And then you have the same list that I discussed before. So where do we have epoch? Here we have it. And then, so we don't want these, we want this, we want this, and say, let's go up to 650 or so. Okay, so I have to pick a while, or let's say 630 is better. And then we'll get only the results for this. Let's see how much we have, 34. But so, yeah, the disadvantage is that the chronological sorting has disappeared. So you have to do it again. You have to sort again. Okay, but let's try another filter. So we can also say that we want to know how Eastern authors use this. So we delete this, and then we go to denomination, and we only want Church of the East. Okay, so let's sort chronologically by epoch. Okay, and you see it begins with this famous passage from Ishoyab III, where it talks about the Tayoye Mahagere, and we have 73 results. So everything that has been said dealing with simple searches, advanced searches applies here as well. Metadata is just a way to get more refined results, and yeah, if you are looking for particular stuff, it might give you some results which you otherwise may have missed. And you can do this for any of the metadata attributes that I have discussed. Okay, thank you. I'll stop sharing.
We hope you enjoyed the Simtho tutorials. Our Meltho Lab team in the Middle East continues manually correcting OCR'd text to give you access to more accurate texts. The Metho Lab operation is entirely supported by donations, and it provides young men and women in the Middle East with much needed employment during a time of local crisis. Our project also promotes pride in their heritage as workers contribute to promoting their own culture.